Before we get started, I'd like to point out a few things. This is a Sonic fan. This is also a Sonic fan.
The Sonic universe might also be classified as hot chick heaven.
Just make sure to keep those things in mind while I say these horrible, horrible things. Sonic Adventure 2 is absolute fucking wank. It's so much wank, it wanked itself into a coma and came all over my sitting room carpet, leaving me to clean up the mess. I actually cannot stress how awful this game is. If you like this game, you're wrong. Your nostalgia goggles must be strapped on so hard that you couldn't even see an incoming nuclear strike. So, is there anything I actually like about this game? Some of the music is okay, and that's it. The rest of it is an absolute pain. I hate this game. I'd rather pay money to have someone slam my head in a car door than play this game. But why is it so awful? Well, let's break it down into each of its main gameplay types to find out which character is having the most explosive wank. The mech stage are the least egregious section of this game because they're just merely boring. Do I have to listen to an extremely high-pitched beeping sound every 2 seconds when I'm trying to kill enemies? Yeah. Are the controls absolutely atrocious enjoyment-killing nightmares that are extremely unfun to traverse in? Sure. Is the camera constantly out to get you, like the Irish government is out to get young people? Also yes. But its mechanics are just solid enough to reach the level of barely function. So if this were the whole game, it would reach the lofty heights of playable. Which, in this circumstance of the game, is like taking hold of the gold trophy in a toddler 100-meter sprint. But it gets worse. Far, far worse. I mulled over a bit which section I find the most infuriating. This and the speed sections were close, but I have to edge it out to the speed sections because at least these sections don't non-stop kill me and put me in a murder frenzy to rival any Call of Duty protagonist. But I'll get to that. Playing these sections is like a passive annoyance that builds up over time, like watching a narcoleptic run a PowerPoint presentation. Remember I brought up the camera, contemporary political joke, blah 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 blah? Well, this section is by far the one that suffers from this the most, since your main gameplay is exploration, and you have to look around to find the fucking gems in this level to progress. But surely this is something that can be explained away because it's an early 3D game and it just aged badly. Wrong! And shut up! This game's camera is fucking inexcusable for a game that was released in 2001. Do you know what else was released in 2001? Grand Theft Auto 3, Jak and Daxter, and many other games that I haven't played but also probably have a good camera. You can also get hints in this level to find the gems across it. Except they're no fucking help at all, unless you've thoroughly explored this level with a team of archaeologists and professional photographers. Otherwise, you're just pissing in the wind. This can lead to these levels being unbearably long, the pumpkin patch being a particular thorn in my urethra, leading the once decent music to be a cheese grater grating across my head. So, great job, Sonic. Your one solitary gold star gets taken away because your levels drag out to unbearable lengths, unlike my cock. My rage cannot be contained for these sections. They are, by the largest margin imaginable, the most frustrating experience I have ever had in a video game. The first few levels of the speed stages are basically okay. Sure, the homing attack is really obtuse and doesn't let you know when it'll actually work, and the controls are awful, but compared to the later sections of the game that gave me a rage boner the size of Mount Olympus, if we discount the fact that I have a micro dick, then I guess they're okay. But there are so many fall to your death sections if you even slightly veer off the path, or even sometimes when you do exactly what the game wants you to do. Look at this! This is the sort of game design I expect from a first-year college student on meth! There is endless amounts of frustrating sections within these levels that cause me to go to my death due to no fault of my own, or through the fault of my presuming that everyone who plays this game is fucking clairvoyant. This might not be an issue if the game didn't use the fucking arbitrary live system that was only ever created to shake kids in their pocket change in arcades. You might rebut that with, oh, but Mario does it. If Mario jumped off a grind rail to his death, would you follow? It's fucking stupid when Mario does it, and it should have been packed in around 1985. The ironic thing is, Sonic just moves too fucking fast. So it's impossible to tell whether you'll make a jump or it'll send you to your immediate death, or if a random grind rail you go down will just decide to instantly kill you. The worst part about this is, the game demands a quickness of pace for its rating system. Since I committed the blasphemous act of dying once in this level, the game will give you an E rank at the end of the stage, it'll call you a cunt, and then tell you to come back when you've memorized the Old Testament. I'm already infuriated by your awful level design and controls, game, and now you've the gall to laugh at me for not being pixel perfect? Fuck you, game! Ratings haven't meant anything to me since my parents stopped caring about my school results when I was 12. To the surprise of no one, the boss fights in this game are absolute wank. Let me give you a brief tutorial on how to make a boss fight for all you aspiring game developers out there. A boss fight is not a random variance in gameplay style with the mechanics that are not repeated later in the game. A boss fight is a test of all the skills that you've learned in the game thus far. Easily the worst boss fight in this game is the Sonic Shadow boss fight from the end of the villain section, with the most inconsistent mechanics, and it's just randomly killing me for no reason. Also, can someone explain to me why the fuck there's a kart racing game in this? It's totally out of nowhere, only appears once in each story section, and then fucks off to the extras menu for the rest of eternity. It's like if you were playing The Witcher 3, and in the middle of it, they just made you play a game of Hearthstone. Okay, bad example. It's not even a well-designed kart racing experience. It can literally be beaten by pressing forward to continue. There's no skill involved at all, and it's unbelievably boring. Oh, you want my opinion on the Chow Garden as well? Well, you can get fucked! The sound mixing is fucked in this game. I don't even know how you fuck up something like this so badly.
It's called Prison Island.
All I can hear is the sound in the background or the gameplay when the characters are trying to talk, which is probably for the best because the voice acting is military grade cringe.
Will you marry me?
No way!
I thought I had you this time.
This one is actually indefensible. I was going to list some games released before this to illustrate that voice acting in games can be good, but there is a shitload of competently acted ones. However, another fault of this game is the embarrassingly written dialogue, and it's something that still plagues the game industry even to this day, in the same sense that Americans plague worldwide culture. I still don't even understand why any of the Sonic characters even need to talk or have a story. There's a reason that the mainline Mario games never had a story more complex than Rescue the Princess. Aside from it being an established brand that doesn't need it, long-running games have the issue of their characters having no goals past the first game because all of their internal struggles are resolved after it, aka the problem every Ratchet & Clank game has run into bar the first one. Maybe the first Sonic adventure has Sonic overcome his alcoholism with a layered and complex philosophical discussion between Eggman and about addiction culture propagated by the escapist philosophy needed to survive late-stage capitalism, but in this game, there's absolutely none of it. The character motivations are no more complex than I want to save the world or I want to take over the world. There are no struggles, nothing is learned by any characters, and nobody grows. You might say, oh, kids game. What sort of excuse is that? The original Ratchet & Clank is a kid's game, and it has competent writing. Would you like to see how the story ends? I'm not going to fucking finish it. I cannot subject myself to another second of playing this game. Because once you reach the final section, after you beat the two main stories, it's just... I have to deal with all this ridiculous gameplay issues I've mentioned before, along with the game just fucking killing me in cutscenes, and then when I run out of lives, it makes me start the whole final section again, from the very, very start. Fuck that! You know, I started this review thinking that everybody knows this game is shit, and I get a few extra edge points for saying that the Sonic levels are the worst part of this game. But there are people that unironically think this game is the second rising of The Witcher 3. I saw one guy say how the cinematography in this game is stellar because of the way it's handled in this scene, with the camera pointing up to give Shadow more power and pointing down to give less power to Sonic. Cinematography is a bit of a loose term, so I'll quickly define it as telling a story with the camera. So yes, this is technically cinematography, however, it's something I did in literally my first film. So great job, Sonic. For about 2.5 seconds, you reach the level of a second-year film student directing his first film. There's one video I specifically wanted to respond to, because it's beyond me how this person could be so delusional about this game. Now, we all know and love Pro Jared. He's done many great things for everyone in the Leak community, but he made a video a while ago saying this game is bad, and an absolutely wonderful gentleman called Ruby of Blue responded to his criticisms of the game. So I'm gonna do a bit of a respawnception.
But I'd like to point out that it's always the case that there will always be people who resent something just because it's popular. Because it makes them feel good that they don't go along with the popular opinion or the mainstream. I'm not saying ProJared only makes these points for the sake of being a contrarian, but it is important to consider how he's framing this video and his tone towards the game and its fans.
Holy shit, this is a dumb take. Just because something is popular does not make it good. I don't know, let's take Avengers Endgame for example. Oh goodness, I've opened up a can of worms, haven't I? Alright, let's take a less controversial example. When The Shining, popularly considered the best horror movie of all time, was released, everybody hated it, including the critics. Fuck it actually, The Big Bang Theory is wildly popular and it's terrible. Something being popular does not make it good.
This is the first case of Jared blaming his own mistakes as the faults of the game, and this is a persistent issue with reviewers who go over not just the adventure games, but all Sonic games. For some reason, they expect to be instantly good at the game, so whenever they have trouble, they get frustrated and blame the game.
Okay, listen here, fucker. I can understand that this game might be fun if you know the levels like the back of your hand, but for a new player, it is incredibly frustrating to get randomly killed for something there is no way you could have seen coming. The Sonic stages are literally built on trial and error, which has worked in certain games, but if you're supposed to bang your head against a wall on repeat to succeed, why is there a fucking live system?
But about the truck segment itself, he complains that the camera is too close to you and you can't see what's coming in front of you, when you don't need to. There are no obstacles in front of you. The challenge in this segment is to maintain your speed to not get hit by the truck. There are rings and ramps you can hit for extra points, but they aren't necessary to clearing the challenge.
So there are no obstacles. So it's a pointless press forward to continue section?
Does this make the boss fight hard? No, he's easy as crap. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have problems that should be ignored.
It's easy as crap. If that's the case, why are you making such a big deal about these supposed flaws? If they didn't hinder your experience enough to affect the difficulty, then how is it enough of a problem to harp on about?
Do you only think games are bad when they're difficult?
Shadow the Hedgehog, who is there hanging out for some reason, monologuing to himself about the power of the Chaos Emerald.
Shadow is there because he just stole the Chaos Emerald from the bank and finally has a moment of peace from the police and military chasing him, so he's reflecting on his intentions.
Does this guy even hear his own words? Okay, pro screenwriting tip. Don't have your character randomly talk to themselves. Nobody does it in real life. It is the absolute laziest way to convey exposition.
All the police know is that a fast-moving hedgehog-like figure stole a Chaos Emerald. Why wouldn't they suspect Sonic? Now, the news did get a close-up on Shadow's face while still reporting him as Sonic, but one, Fox News exists, so shitty sensationalist reporting working on outdated information isn't all that far-fetched.
Fox News exists? Damn, now I'm convinced. Okay, first of all, is Sonic the only hedgehog that it could possibly be in this universe? Secondly, didn't Sonic save the fucking world in the last game? I think they might give the savior of the world just a little bit of benefit of the doubt.
Every single one of these levels are just huge time wasters.
You know why? Because you're not good at them, and you're not willing to improve because you already decided that they were bad going into them. The truth is, the average time of the hunting stages versus the average time of the action stages, with one player of reasonable skill, is shorter. The time you spend in the hunting stages is almost entirely based on your skill at the game.
You do realize not everyone has played this game 7 trillion times, right?
This is the worst part of the game.
He never explains why, other than that the laser sound is annoying, so I have no choice but to assume that he's hating it for the sake of saying Sonic Adventure 2 is only 1/3 good.
Okay, I'll tell you why people dislike this gameplay style. It's fucking boring! How do you even explain to someone that something is boring? You can't say anything else other than that. These sections are just functional enough to work, but have nothing entertaining in them. I don't really know what else to say. There's a reason that that was the shortest section of this video.
Loops are always treated like these monumental feats of Sonic, with the camera being all like, "Whoa, dude, look what he's doing!" and the whole sequence taking much longer. Maybe this is a factor as to why so many people feel like the new 3D games are always on autopilot, because there's a lot more time being spent on stuff like this.
The automated sections in SA1 and 2 are often very short transitional parts that keep the action flowing while giving you some spectacle, and giving you an aerial view of the area at the end of them. But they're blown way out of proportion and made out to seem like they make the games play themselves.
You do realize you just said what he said, but with more words.
This leads to the most worthless stage in the entire game. Racing. Tails in a car, racing.
I'd hardly say it's pointless since it's just incorporating the kart racing side mode into the main story for a bit. I don't see what the big deal is.
Oh hey, I made a movie. Let me slice in some footage of behind the scenes into the main story just for a bit.
The ports of the game royally screwed up the volume of the music, voices, and sound effects, but the English voices have always had problems of speaking over each other. But that's just it. English voices. For the Japanese voices, this problem is mostly non-existent. So I know most English speakers expect the English voices to suffice for a good enough experience. But if you're really that bothered by their problems and you're aware of the Japanese voice option, you really don't have any excuse not to use them. So making a big deal that it ruins the experience is kinda on you. They are the voices the devs wanted the players to hear, after all.
First of all, no, the Japanese voices are not what was intended for the English audience. Let's take a look at, I don't know, Yakuza? A game also published by Sega that only has the option for the Japanese voices past the first one. Almost as if it was intended for that audience. Secondly, change the fucking voices if the sound mixing annoys you. Are you fucking kidding? Having audio quality like that in a game like this is bluntly unacceptable, and you can't just go, no, it's fine in Japanese. It's the default option. How would anyone fucking know that the sound mixing is better in a different language?
I will grant you one wish.
I'm sorry, what? You're a genie? This is never brought up again, by the way, but Shadow has wish powers.
This confusion is partly due to the English translation of I will grant you one wish from I will grant you your wish. How Shadow knows what Eggman came for is explained later, but to come away from this thinking Shadow has wish powers,
Earlier in this video, he says he finds it hard to tell when people are joking around and is going to respond to everything in this video seriously. So, did you think that genie thing was serious? If you watched this video, would you think I was being serious about me having a micropenis? Well, you should, because I do.
By the way, Rouge is actually a secret agent for the US government. That never really has any relevance to the plot, but there you go.
The fact that he put a line over that cutscene shows how little he paid attention or how little he actually cared about representing the game accurately. Rouge is a freelance spy who is paid in jewels on a mission for the president. Not only does this enrich her character, but it also gives us important information about Project Shadow.
Okay, let's talk about a little thing called Exposition. The short version is, it's information that's relevant to make your story make sense. It's in every game, every movie, every book. Exposition is usually hidden through clever dialogue, cinematography, and many other methods. But having an entire character's purpose to dump information on you makes them a bland character. Do you know why people always make fun of the supervillain explaining their whole plan before they kill the hero? Because it's bad exposition, and Rouge's whole purpose is to give exposition.
Shadow is completely devoted to Maria's wish, whatever that may be. So as soon as he knows Maria's true wish, he doesn't hesitate to flip immediately, almost like a robot. But also, this illustrates Shadow as the representation of the message of the story, which is, people make mistakes, but they deserve a chance to fulfill their wishes of a happy life.
Okay, so, your main character, that Sonic guy, what mistake did he make during this? It's kind of important to embody your theme through your lead character, or else, why is he your lead character?
Somehow Gerald's research went from massive biolizard to a hedgehog.
He's a mad scientist of the Robotnik family, what do you expect?
Solid motivation, he's insane. Just pack it up. Why was The Dark Knight even 2.5 hours long? Could have just said, the Joker's insane, punched him for 2 minutes, and roll credits.
Eggman talks with Tails about how he doesn't understand why his grandfather would want to destroy Earth, which is completely hypocritical since that was the one thing he wanted to do since the start, and he already boned everybody by f***ing up the moon.
Not quite.
He fired at the moon to demonstrate the Eclipse cannon's power and then proceeded to threaten the president with the destruction of his country within 24 hours if he didn't surrender to the Eggman Empire.
Eggman never wanted to destroy the planet, he just wanted to establish himself as the greatest scientific genius of the world and rule as dictator.
Alright fucker, listen up. If we're supposed to believe that Sonic has a biased media, or whatever the fuck you said, we're supposed to ignore the fucking fact that blowing up the moon would destroy the fucking Earth? Bro, you can't just pick and choose when to apply real life logic to a game and ignore it when it's convenient to your agenda. So he wants to be a dictator by destroying a whole country. Are you fucking kidding? At least it's not the whole world. Shut the fuck up! Destroying a country is genocide at a mass level. Once you reach a global genocide, I don't think it matters whether you're destroying one country or the whole world.
Misleading millions of people with misinformation like this is harmful to the Sonic series itself. After 06, Sonic Team went in a different direction because they didn't want anything resembling 06 because they were scared shitless of repeating that mistake. And that fear has carried with them to this day. So when outsiders start going to the adventure games and deriding them because bad by association to 06,
They're just like this. They're just like this.
No, they're not.
it muddies the waters and makes Sonic Team unnecessarily wary of making a Sonic Adventure 3, which is exactly what Sonic needs right now.
Oh no, did the big bad independent YouTuber scare the massive company away from making another shit game?
The adventure games are a hot topic. Hell, isn't that why you made this video? After Sonic Forces teasing us with glimmers of the adventure style, the desire for it is stronger than ever. There's a clear demand, and if you're a smart business, you supply.
So, Sonic Team are stupid then? Hey, listen, it was your words, not mine. Okay, now, I'm done listening to this guy any further because I'll have an aneurysm otherwise. So, I'll give you a quick recap in case you had a dog that really needed to be pet during this video. Dodgy controls, fundamentally flawed premise, terrible voice acting and story, Sonic fans are all cunts.